Hi, I'm Mark Rotella. I write about Italian and Italian American culture, but most of all, I'm passionate about food. I also teach classes on food writing, but what excites me is the point where food and culture meet. I'll be taking you across the country through landmark Italian American restaurants to show how they have completely influenced what we think of as American and Italian cuisine. Welcome to Red Sauce. Here we are in Jersey City, the second most populated city in New Jersey and home to tens of thousands of Italian Americans. And just as Alexander Hamilton helped found Paterson, he also laid the groundwork for Jersey City in 1804, just before he was killed in the duel. Jersey City is now one of the most ethnically diverse cities in the world. Throughout the early 20th century, immigrants arrived in Ellis Island. They went by ferry to Communipaw Terminal in Jersey City, which brought newly arrived immigrants to all points west of New York City. It is in now what is Liberty State Park, with the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island within a stone's shot away in the harbor. The Italians who settled here worked in Jersey City's many factories.
So on the east side, we'd have Colgate's was a very, very big employer, and also Dixon Pencil, right? The number 2 pencils we all use for SATs. They were from downtown Jersey City. On the other side, on the west side, were steel mills.
They immigrated in the early 20th century and they settled in downtown Jersey City in what became known as the Village. Here we are at Laico's in the Greenville section of Jersey City, where Italians lived alongside other immigrant communities such as the Irish and Polish.
When I go to Laico's, I still look at the neighborhood as I looked at it back then. I do think that it gets people today who are young, who let's call them yuppies or whatever you want to call those folks living in downtown Jersey City, and they'll go there to go eat. I think for them, that's a little bit of an experience. And there's a touch directly from someone who goes there to having that food.
Chicken parmesan. This is an entirely Italian-American dish. For so many Italians, vegetables and pasta were a staple. But when they arrived in America, these Italian immigrants found an abundance of meat, chicken, pork, beef, and this dish came about in the early to mid-20th century. A recipe for this first appeared for non-Italians in 1953 in the New York Herald Tribune. Pork chops with vinegar peppers. This is quite possibly one of my favorite Italian-American dishes. The pork chops are moist and succulent, topped with fiery peppers. Linguine and clams. This dish came over directly from Naples and the Campania region. I lived just on the edge of the Village section of Jersey City for about 7 years in the early 2000s. When I first moved there, I was looking for a traditional Italian-American restaurant to get a good old-fashioned red sauce meal. And it was a plumber working on my house who told me about Laico's, which, while not in the downtown Italian Village, was just a few neighborhoods away. We were driving alongside a dense residential street with no other stores or restaurants in sight, and there it was on what looked to be the ground floor of one of the many wood frame houses. And now I'm sitting down for dinner with owner Louis Laico, who took over the restaurant from his father Lou Sr. and Louis's son Adam. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be back here. 15 years ago, when I was living in Jersey City, this was one of the places my wife and I came. And there was something so wonderful about this block and this restaurant. Here we are in this residential neighborhood on a street, and this is like kind of pretty much in a house right here. How did this come about? I mean, when did you take over the restaurant?
Well, my father started it, and my mother and father started it in 1972. And it was an old pizza place, Zupa's. The old woman used to make pizzas in the back, and all they did was have pizza and meatball sandwiches, and that was it. It was a dive bar, and it was a shuffleboard across here, and the bar went down to the window. And the back room was the kitchen, and the side doors where they picked up the pizzas and sandwiches. The bar went actually to this window.
Wow. And so who were the people who would come here? I mean, just mostly...
Well, it's mostly people from the city, policemen, firemen, workers that work for the city. And everybody lived in the neighborhood at that time, you know.
What I love here is we have Louis Laico and his son Adam. We have a father-son team here. You started in '72. You grew up in South Jersey.
Yep. Central Jersey, yeah. Monmouth County, yeah.
So at what point did you start getting involved in the restaurant business?
I was 16 and I would start busting tables on Sundays just to get acclimated and help out on those days. Then I went to college, kind of did my own thing, and I've been back up here about 8 to 10 years.
And how did you get involved in the restaurant business? Had you always been involved? Like, what was that inspiration?
No, well, my mother and father were here, and I would help them out. But I was going to school at that period of time. So they had people working in the kitchen. The chef got sick, so I told my father, I'll do it for a while. And then I got involved, and I'm here 50 years later.
I want to know about each of these dishes, but first, cheers. So, chin chin. Cheers. To your health. All right. Here we have, this is the eggplant rollatini. This is a typical Italian American dish right here, which I absolutely love. Go ahead.
Broccoli rabe and sausage, escarole and white beans sauteed, famous chicken parm.
Okay.
The #1 in the state and number 11th in the nation.
My favorite dish, I'm going to say the pork chop and vinegar peppers.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And that's probably
Right when
the biggest seller right now. That and the chicken parm.
Yeah, the pork chop that we do a couple different ways, but that's definitely up there as one of the most popular ones for sure.
And of course, we got some fried calamari back here. All right, should we, how should we dig in?
You tell me, what do you want to start with?
You want to try a little
Let's try the
calamari first?
All right.
Yeah, excellent. And then a little bit of the escarole and beans, or however.
So on Monday, the New Jersey, New York Eater came out with their best 15 dishes of 2022. And we were the only ones in New Jersey that made the list, and this dish made the list. Eggplant rollatini. He was here one Sunday about 8 months ago. He had this, he had the escarole and beans,
Right.
he had the pork chop. He
way
said,
with this.
after 50 years, I would still go back to the place.
What is it that you think makes this stand out?
Just to be honest, just the freshness of it. You know, everything is prepared per order and everything. So I just think it's just quality ingredients. You know, a red sauce that stood the test of time.
Well, that's what he mentioned there. The red sauce, put it in orbit.
Right.
So he really liked the smoothness of the red sauce. He really liked our red sauce.
Let's try this right now. All right. Bon appetit.
Bon appetito.
All right, here we go.
You know, eggplant's nice and light,
And the eggplant is fantastic.
but yeah, it looks like a nice, you know, a heavy dish. But really, when you get into it, it's really pretty light.
And I want to try this right here. And this, again, is my father's favorite thing when he came here. And again, an Italian American staple, Italian staple.
So good. And to be honest, I've ordered this at a few other places. This is the only place I'll eat escarole and beans.
I mean, what's it like when you have, I mean, this seems, you know, for you guys to see families here, families you knew growing up, bringing their kids here. I mean, what is that like for you?
It's great, you know. I have 2 young girls. My oldest is 2.5. My youngest is 9 months. So just to bring them here, to share that whole thing with them, you know, about me running around here as a kid and this and that, just to see them run around is like really special. I know it means something to him to see his grandkids run around here. So I mean, look, when you're here 50 years, I mean, that's one of the better parts, right? You get to watch people that have grown up on this stuff, whether they moved away or not, come back to Jersey City, come in here and like ask for the server that they had when they were a kid, you know, because his mother's sister, she worked here until she was, what, 92, you know?
Yeah, my mother's
91.
sister worked here. You remember Irene? I think we mentioned her.
So
That was
let's
my
talk a little
mother's
bit about
sister.
that
She
was-
worked till she was 92.
Really? To me, that was my image of Laico's.
Oh yeah, she definitely left her mark on anybody she waited on or
Everyone I talk to about Laico's is like, oh, Irene, do you remember? So here's the pork with vinegar peppers, tender, juicy in a way I can never cook. Perfect on a rainy, cold night. Yeah. Is this the go-to place for the Christmas party right here at Laico's? And what's it, the food? Everything, everything. All right, what's your favorite? What's your favorite meal here? What's your favorite? What dish did you get?
I've had the chicken parm.
And had you had that before, or is it just after you heard that it was the best in New Jersey?
After I heard it's the best in New Jersey.
And how'd you feel?
Loved
Loved
it.
it, right? Yeah. And yourself? What did you have? Oh, I didn't even see that on the menu.
That's Judy. She is the host of the party today.
Oh, it looks wonderful. How was it?
Very
Oh.
quaint, food is great.
And what did you have?
Chicken parm.
Okay, this is.
The beef salad was really good.
Oh my gosh, nice and thin.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, good. All right, good. Should we try?
So
the,
now this is the famous chicken parm.
It's the salsa.
Tender, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah, chicken's super tender.
Okay, this is yeah.
So everybody asked me the secret about the chicken parm.
I almost know better not to, but I'm now.
I'm gonna tell you. Every order that comes in, we bread it to order. We don't bread it ahead of time because it draws the moisture out of the meat.
Really, so many people feel like, oh, Italian American food, so heavy. But it's not when it's done right. Not when it's done with fresh ingredients.
Right.
Like the chicken parm is light. The rollatini is
Oh,
light.
yeah.
Everything is. You don't.
It's
think
all
of
in the
it.
sauce. It's a nice light, just
Well, and also how you prepare it.
It's not over seasoned tomato sauce.
Yeah. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was our
Thank you
pleasure
so
having
much.
you.
It's
I
been great
cannot
talking
where we
with
can
you.
accommodate
And yeah, I'll be coming back here again and again.
We're looking forward to it. This was truly a pleasure. Thank you.
I'm Mark Rotella. Join us next time for another adventure in Italian American landmark restaurants. This is Red Sauce.